Right now at 5, one person is dead after a fatal Madison crash late last week. The charges now being filed against the suspect.
It has been 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll take a look at how technology is changing the classroom. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Thanks for staying with us at 5, everyone. Eric is off tonight. Arman Rahman is filling in. Thanks for your help.
Of course.
A Madison man is officially charged in the deadly crash on Madison's west side.
20-year-old Ryan Bertrand is charged with first-degree reckless homicide, homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and 2 counts of operating while intoxicated causing injury. The deadly crash happened on Thursday at the intersection of South Gammon and Raymond Roads. According to a criminal complaint, Bertrand allegedly told police he had been drinking all day. Police say Bertrand was driving at speeds near 90 miles per hour on Raymond Road just before crashing into the other vehicle. One person in that other vehicle died at the scene, while 3 others, including 2 children, suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
A now former correctional officer at the Walworth County Sheriff's Office is charged for alleged child sex abuse. Samuel Piper was charged last Friday with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a child and 2 counts of trafficking a child. The Sheriff's Office says officers received tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that Piper had been paying minors for videos and images in the summer of last year. On Thursday, officers searched Piper's home and arrested him. He resigned the same day.
Now to look at your first foreign forecast, it's been a seasonably cool day today.
But a big warm-up is not that far off. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is back today. He's out on the weather patio. Jacket or no jacket? Yep, got one.
Jacket on today. Probably don't really need it. It's gorgeous out here. The sun's still shining. Our wild birds and limited bird feeders, well, the birds have flown away because I scared them, but they are all out here enjoying the weather, and I'm enjoying it too, because even though temperatures are a bit cooler, 20 degrees colder than where we were at this point yesterday. Mind you, we were in the 60s yesterday. We're a little bit closer to where we should be for this time of year, but still gorgeous. 47 in Madison right now, 52 to the west in the Wisconsin River Valley, 50 in Janesville, and then 50 to the north in Camp Douglas. Here in Dane County, 49 down the highway in Cross Plains, 49 to the south in Oregon, and 46 up to the northeast and 151 in Sun Prairie. As we plan the rest of our night, sunny skies up through 7 o'clock, temperatures dipping down into the 40s and then eventually into the 30s. Overnight lows will be fairly typical for what you'd expect for this time of year. We'll get down into the 20s, but you said, Susan, a big warm-up's on the way. There it is. Look at that. By the time we get to Friday, then temperatures tumble behind a weather system that we're going to talk quite a bit about in Maine weather. The first potential for organized severe weather may be on our doorstep. We'll talk more about that in a couple of moments.
The Agriculture Department has cut 2 programs that provided money for schools and food banks to buy food from local farmers. The first program provided roughly $660 million to the Local Food for Schools Cooperative Agreement Program. The rest of the money was earmarked for the Local Food Purchase Assistance Cooperative Agreement Program. The ending of these programs will suspend more than $1 billion in federal funding.
Some Milwaukee chefs are helping a nonprofit being impacted by federal funding cuts. The Wilcuma Dinner was organized after the Trump administration cut $90,000 for the nonprofit Hanan Refugees Relief Group. 6 chefs from around Milwaukee collaborated in the kitchen to prepare a dinner that was served as a sign of hope. The event brought people together for one common purpose: helping others.
I walked in and I got emotional because it's been a very challenging 60 days. It gives you faith that, our community is here for us and to support us.
Organizers say the event serves not only to raise critical funds, but also to create awareness for the organization.
There's been a breakthrough in the high-stakes talks between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine says it has agreed to a U.S. proposal to implement a 30-day interim ceasefire. Russia still has to sign off on the agreement. Meanwhile, the U.S. has agreed to immediately lift the pause on intelligence sharing and the delivery of military aid to Ukraine. That was suspended following an explosive meeting between President Trump and Ukraine's president in Washington.
The president's been abundantly clear. He wants the shooting to stop. He wants the warfare to stop. He wants the dying and the suffering to stop. And he believes, and rightfully so, that the only way to end this war is to negotiate an end to it.
Ukraine says it does not want to be pressured into a ceasefire deal that rewards Vladimir Putin with territory and leaves the door open to him invading the country again in the future.
President Trump is raising tariffs on Canada. This comes after the province of Ontario placed a retaliatory tax on electricity exports to the U.S. Trump says he has directed the Treasury Department to add an additional 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada starting tomorrow.
He's asking for, at the end of the day, are fair and balanced trade practices, and unfortunately, Canada has not been treating us very fairly at all over the past several decades.
Meanwhile, the House has approved a stopgap spending bill to fund the government through September. And on Wall Street today, it was not as bad as it was yesterday. The Dow dropped 478 points. The Nasdaq fell 32 and the S&P is down 42.
The Brewers are coming to WISC-TV and Television Wisconsin. Morgan Murphy Media is partnering with the Crew and Good Karma brands to bring you 13 Brewers games in Madison. In addition to 10 regular season games, we'll also be airing 3 spring training games as well. The first game scheduled for this Saturday when the Brewers take on the Los Angeles Angels. First pitch is at 3:10. After spring training, we'll be broadcasting the home opener against Kansas City on March 31st. And tomorrow's the official start of the NFL's free agency period. Yesterday, the Packers announced they were signing former 49er guard Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million deal, and cornerback Nate Hobbs to a 4-year, $48 million deal. We sat down with News 3 Now's Packers expert Jason Wilde to hear how these players will impact the team.
If you were a Packers fan who was hoping for, a big cannonball splash into the free agent pool, this wasn't it, right? It wasn't Josh Jacobs from last year. It wasn't Xavier McKinney from last year. But what it is are 2 signings that fit really clear needs for this team. They needed to upgrade their offensive line. They got it with the best guard on the market. So they needed corner help, and Hobbs is a big athletic corner who can play inside and outside. They seem like really good fits.
Now, the Packers do need a couple more pieces, including a receiver and another pass rusher.
Well, you can celebrate St. Patrick's Day early by listening to some Irish tunes.
And one of those gentlemen gave a heart, saying inside the great darky called Master McGrath.
What you're hearing here is some music from the band Danu. The Irish band is coming to Madison to play at the Overture Center this weekend. They use flutes and fiddles and the accordion and vocals to blend ancient Irish music with their high-energy performances.
It's traditional Irish music, so, foot tapping, jigs and reels, and then lovely songs and ballads in the Irish language and the English language. So featuring probably most of the instruments in the tradition, We've between all the 7 musicians, we play a lot of the different instruments.
Tickets are on sale right now. They range from $35 to $60 per person. Their show will play this Saturday, 7:30 in the evening, and a link to purchase tickets can be found on our website, channel3000.com. It's St. Patrick's Day on Monday already.
Oh my goodness,
Yep,
how
I
time
know.
is flying
Yep.
by. Well, still to come on News 3 Now at 5, measles cases continue to rise in the South.
Plus, we're still seeing some effects of the COVID pandemic in the classroom. We'll tell you how technology is impacting children's learning in schools. It has been 5 years since the world was forever changed by the COVID pandemic, most notably our higher usage of technology.
In this week's Time for Kids report, our Jalen Banks sits down with one expert on kids' screen time over the past 5 years.
Since the days of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen an increase in technology use and screen time, especially in places like classrooms for kids.
Over the past 5 years, experts say technology has literally taken over kids' days.
When it was 2 hours and 24 minutes, but it still remains 2 to 3 hours primarily. And we know that number just kind of increases as elementary and middle school age kind of progresses. So you see 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. Some kids are hitting even 7 hours of screen time a day.
Dr. Sood shares with me certain areas of development have changed or lacked for the generation of kids in school during the pandemic. This potentially impedes on social development, especially for young kids.
So we know from data points that face-to-face interactions have decreased by 2 hours amongst teenagers and younger kids based on the access of screens, as well as, again, COVID-19. You can't talk anything without talking about the pandemic, because that became an accelerant for screen time use.
But there is a positive development trend for kids born further away from the pandemic.
However, kids who are 2 and younger are actually catching back up in reading compared to their counterparts from multiple years ago. And they're hitting those kind of standards prior to the pandemic. So there is a generation of kids, unfortunately, that have fallen behind because of this. So this is why I make the argument that virtual learning was great because it gave an opportunity for kids to learn, but it's not a replacement.
Reporting in studio, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. If you would like to check out more of these stories, just head on over to our website, channel3000.com/time-for-kids.
As measles cases in Texas and New Mexico continue to rise, vaccine rates nationwide are falling. According to the CDC, vaccination coverage among kindergartners across the U.S. dropped to 92.7% for measles, mumps, and rubella during the previous school year last year, with 2 deaths confirmed from the current outbreak. Doctors fear the current number of cases is much higher than actually reported.
I do worry that as immunization rates continue to erode, that the children will once again suffer. This is a highly contagious virus, and I don't think people realize how sick it can make you.
The CDC says that measles has a mortality rate of 1 to 3 per 1,000 cases in children. Well, to the weather now, buckle up. It's March in Madison, but it was a seasonably mild day today. Not bad out there.
Yeah, but those temperatures are warming back up, aren't they, Alex? I'm excited.
Roller coaster ride continues at 6. I'm going to take us back 2 weeks, but look at the next 10 days, going all the way up to 72 by Friday, down to 37 by Sunday, back to the 50s early next week. So that continuation of that roller coaster ride that we've been riding for quite some time will continue across southern Wisconsin as we march through March. Well, let's march to the current temperatures. 47 in Madison, 50 in Janesville, still as warm as 52 tied in Prairie du Chien and in Boscobel right now. Here in Dane County, we got 50 to the southwest of the station in Verona, 47 in Madison, and 48 right now in Stoughton. On our first Warren weather cam, part of our network of weather cams, showing that glorious sunshine out there still at 5 o'clock, and it stays out till about 7 now. 47 in Madison, winds northeast. That's just maybe a little bit of the downside today, a little bit of a bite in the air with those northeasterly breezes, but 47 is about almost 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. Let's plan the night together here. Temperatures staying in the 40s till you join us again at about that 10 o'clock hour. We'll get down into the 30s overnight tonight, and then to around roughly 30 for overnight low temperatures. That's what you'll wake up to Wednesday morning, with the partly cloudy skies continuing as we go on into Wednesday, warming back up into the upper 50s to near 60s. So the mercury is going to increase by 10 degrees on Wednesday, and it gets even warmer after that. As I mentioned, 70s by Friday. Everything is dry and quiet through Friday. Then that storm chance is something that the First Warn Weather Team, we started talking about this last week. The potential we could be looking at severe weather, and that looks like the case, primarily for areas south and west of Madison for Friday evening, going into the Friday overnight time frame. Greatest threat right now is going to be strong winds. We're going to use Future Track to give you a projection of what that looks like. Storm Prediction Center already has a risk of severe weather, highlighting areas from the Dells to Madison to Janesville and off towards the south and towards the west. And when it's issued this far out in advance, that means business by the Storm Prediction Center. And here's a projection of that line of widespread showers and thunderstorms stretching across the entire viewing area as we head towards approximately midnight on Saturday. And that's an important thing to point out here. As that line quickly moves through, we'll have a few more showers on Saturday and cooler temperatures on Saturday. For the the reason why that timing is so important is with the storm chance being better after 7 p.m., although we do have that strong wind threat, these storms may be in the weakening mode, and the reason why is because they're coming through later at night as we lose that heat of the day, which would be good. We don't need the severe weather, but we'll take the rain that carries on into Sunday as we head out towards St. Patrick's Day. Temperatures above normal, and we warm back up into the 50s as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Well, before I went in and started doing forecasting, putting graphics together, I had a visit today. I had the honor of speaking about weather at Glenn Stevens Elementary's kindergarten classes. We talked about the day in the life of a TV meteorologist, about severe weather, and about tornado safety. And a weather visit, there you go, would not be complete without the famous pepper tornado. See it there in the middle of the jar? And how I match my frames to the forecast, the important ones being the red ones for alert day. And I think the kiddos at Stevens Elementary School have something to say to Southern Wisconsin. Had a great time out there with them, and we'll get to hear a little bit more about from that visit coming up at 6.
Hey, they're pretty good artists,
yes,
too.
They are.
Look at those logos.
Yeah, look at the logos and the alert day. They were ready for the visit today.
Should hire them for our design team.
Yeah, there you go. Well done, kids. Thank you, Alex. When we come back at 5, spring is right around the corner. We'll hear what experts say you can do to lessen the impact of allergies this year. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. Spring is around the corner, and some people may be looking forward to the flowers and warmer weather.
March 20th, right? That's the first official day of spring?
Yes, it is.
Well, if you're one of the millions, though, who suffer from seasonal allergies, you may be dreading this time of the year. Experts say now is the time to prepare to lessen and even prevent some symptoms before they get out of control. Allergists recommend using sprays. Saline can help clear the nasal passages, and a steroid nasal spray can help reduce inflammation.
Some of the generics are things like fluticasone or mometasone. So starting 1 or 2 sprays per nostril every day, a week before symptoms start, will be a great place to start.
Now, if sprays aren't for you, doctors recommend to start a long-acting antihistamine pill before your symptoms start. And once the pollen is in the air, make sure you check Alex's pollen forecast. He'll be updating that on the regular very soon, and we'll have a final check of the weather when we come back.
What does a trade war have to do with car insurance payments? It turns out plenty, and it'll cost you.
Also tonight in our Eye on America, we go to Missoula, Montana to take a look at a government lab like no other. What fire scientists are learning that could prevent catastrophe. We hope you'll join us for the CBS Evening News.
And then coming up tonight at 6, a state regulatory body holds a hearing about Ridgeland Farms, why they're letting the lead veterinarian there keep his license. That's coming up tonight at 6.
And finally tonight, a rare crowded leopard cub has been born at the Nashville Zoo in Tennessee. The female was born on February 25th and is only 13 inches long from nose to the tip of their tail.
According to the zoo, clouded leopards are native to the tropical lowlands of Southeast Asia. Researchers estimate there are 10,000 clouded leopards left in the wild, but because they're so elusive, it's hard to get an actual count. Oh, it's so sweet. Cute. Very cute. Looks like my cat. But it's going to get a lot bigger, a lot quicker. Yeah, and it's a nice evening outside.
Beautiful. I mean, even though it's cooler today by 20 degrees, you still can't complain, in my opinion. It's upper 40s out there right now. The winds are lightening up as a little bit more than where they were earlier today. The sun is out longer, if that's something that you enjoy. But our attention will be turning to alert day conditions coming in on Friday. We'll track that line of storms and how much rain you can expect at 6.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for your help today, Armand.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you back here for News 3 Now at 6.